NCAA for sex discrimination and for violation of Title IX, which had just been enacted. I came home at Thanksgiving very proudly sporting my sweatshirt with our motto written across it: "We don't need balls to play." Shep was livid. He lectured me all the way home to Lewiston and was not the least bit moved by my argument that I felt like he was treading on my right of free speech. He definitely grew more tolerant over the years. He loved being the ACLU's representative to the national board. He'd come home from board meetings brimming with excitement and recounting the debates. In addition to the intellectual challenge and just his commitment to the work, he got a real kick out of being the only car dealer sitting around the table with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Norman Dawson, and other legal luminaries. When my father turned 50 in the late 1970s, my mother threw a big surprise party for him. Justice Skolnick and Frank Coffin were among the many guests. Well into the evening, as the birthday toasts were winding down, my mother called the two judges to the front of the living room, and she handed them each a joint and said, "Try this, I think you'll like it." Whispering under her breath to them, "It's okay, it's not real, it's oregano." Just as the judges were about to light up, in comes a well-known local cop from Lewiston in full uniform, and before anybody could even react, he had them both in handcuffs. And the funniest thing to us was that it was our usually shy and retiring mother, not our gregarious, outgoing father, who set the whole thing up. But on a serious note, as kids, we learned that Louis Skolnick was a lawyer to be admired. He has deeply held beliefs, very clear about his values, and uncompromising in his allegiance to them. He's been for me a standard that I aspire to as I've pursued my own career in the law. So Louis, thank you for everything you've done for me, for my family, for Maine, and for society. George Mitchell and Shep were also very old friends. Around the time my mother was giving birth to me, Shep, George, Ed Muskie, Frank Coffin, and a few other friends were giving new life to the Democratic Party in Maine. They remained very close friends until the very end of Shep's life, and George Mitchell was also a long-standing role model for us of integrity, commitment to public service, and grace. Thank you, George, for all you do and are still doing, and for taking time out of your still crazy, busy schedule to be here tonight. Experiences of my life in Maine has been the privilege to work with and to become friends with many immigrant women and girls. Some of them are here tonight, and I thank you for coming. I'm part of a network of new and old Mainer women that meets monthly. A conversation we had at the meeting immediately following the first Muslim ban has been seared into my consciousness. We went around the room talking about how we were each feeling in the moment, and every single immigrant woman talked about the fears that she felt, the fears she was seeing in her children, but every single one of them also said they had absolute confidence in the democratic institutions that surround us. Many of them referring to the stark contrast between our freedoms here and the horrific conditions that so many of them endured in their home countries. This was a wake-up call to me. It was such a powerful reminder that we need to protect these institutions, not just for my sisters who are immigrants and their families, but for all of us, for our children, for our grandchildren. Yes, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty, but vigilance alone is not enough. We must, as others have said, stand up and take a position. We must fight for these freedoms whenever they're at risk, and I certainly feel they're very much at risk right now. So I urge all of you to add your voice to that of the ACLUs as they defend asylum seekers, people who've battled addiction, as they fight the Muslim bans and remind Maine sheriffs they can choose not to act as ICE agents, and that's just the short list. I believe in the advocacy that I do, and I'm deeply honored to get this award. But now, let's all applaud the biggest achiever in the room tonight, the ACLU of Maine.